And I would like to start also by addressing the elephant in the room, which is about the name of the act, Bharatiya Vaayuyan Vidheyak. I also understand that it might be a little difficult thing to pronounce for a lot of people. गले में अटकता होगा ये, पर कोई शर्मिंदा की बात नहीं है इसमें, कोई ये ऐसे वो शर्मिंदा होने की कोई बात नहीं है. This is something you have to know the intention with which the government has put this name. That is ये है कि भारत की जो विरासत है, संस्कृति है, जो पहचान है, उसको दिखाने की, दर्शाने की एक प्रयत्न ये 3 वर्ड अभी रखने की है. इसमें कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वायलेशन कहीं पे भी नहीं है. जो भी आर्टिकल्स मेंशन किए गए हैं उसका कोई भी कहीं पे भी उसका ऑपोजिशन या कुछ किया नहीं है. One of them is Article 348(1) has been mentioned, which says about the authoritative text. That is definitely in English, it is there. And also the bill is it's mentioned about Article 120, but that also there is no violation about it. And the official language act also, it is in accordance with it. So there is no point of constitution, but there might be a feeling that something has been imposed. And I also am a very proud Telugu person. I speak Telugu language, I write Telugu language, and I am proud of my culture and my upbringing. So you might be questioning, you are a Telugu person, how can you allow this kind of this thing? अरे हमारे तेलुगु में भी भारत तो भारत ही बोलते हैं. वायु is also a Telugu word. So Bharatiya Vaayuyan Vidheyak becomes half Telugu for me also. So it is a mixture of all the languages here. It is like everyone coming together, we want to this thing. With the colonialization, there has been a small cocoon that has been developed. And it is, let me reply, sir, I have carefully listened to each and every one. No matter what the allegation is, whatever the suggestion is, I have listened to each and every one, and I'll address the check. So when this whole colonialization happened, we were created like a cocoon. Now, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, we want to break that cocoon and bring the butterfly out and show the colors of true India, and that is what we are doing here. And this name is a small indication towards it. The text is there in English, so there shouldn't be any problem for any English-speaking person to in fact get afraid that there are 3 words here. कभी तो अभी लगेगा कि कॉपरनिकस लेन है यहाँ पे, किसी के गली में अटकता है तो बदल दे क्या उसको? कॉपरनिकस लेन तो है ही. And my name is Kinjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu. And when some people say Kinjarapu, there might be some problem with them. They can't pronounce it the way I pronounce it. But that doesn't mean that I'll change my name so that it becomes easier for them. ये तो मेरी पहचान है. और उसी तरह अभी शायद ये 2 बार बोलने से 3 बार बोलने से थोड़ा मुश्किल होता होगा. But India has gotten used to so many things, sir. I think they will get used to this one also. Bharatiya Vaayuyan Vidheyak is just to create the identity of the languages. Udan. I have already given the numbers during my opening speech also on how the numbers have doubled in fact from 2014 to 2044. Now we have gone through the numbers. We have seen all the airports coming up. We have seen the lot of passenger traffic being increased. Sometimes when we go through it, when it becomes a normality, we kind of feel that it's just a regular thing that has been happening. But if you have to compare it with the other developing countries or developed countries, then you would see that how doubling a number in 10 years is very, very difficult, sir. And that is something which has been a challenge for India also. And that challenge has been successfully addressed, and we have doubled the number of airports, doubled the number of passenger traffic that we have, and doubled the number of aircraft fleet. But if you look at the true sense on why we want to promote aviation, why we want to make it one of the best sectors in the country, in the whole world, because when we talk about aviation, we talk about tourism. When we talk about aviation, we talk about economic activity. When we talk about aviation, we talk about real estate growth. We talk about job creation. When we talk about aviation, we talk about industry. When we talk about aviation, we talk about commerce, we talk about trade. When we talk about aviation, we talk about culture. And when we talk about aviation, we talk about agriculture also. And that is why aviation is a very important nodal sector that needs to be given that push. Through the Udan scheme, the challenge of these airlines, because it is a market-driven industry, where they feel there might be a non-viability in running a route, the government has taken the responsibility a little bit on himself, and it has said that why don't we provide the viability gap funding. It was the first time that it has been done at such a large scale, and through the Udan scheme, Now we have started 609 routes in the country in just 8 years span of time. Nowhere in the world you would have seen such a scheme which has been run by the government itself, so that the non-viable routes, the airlines can come and start the routes and facilitating the routes. And we have operationalized 86 airports under UDAN. And out of these 86 airports, 20 were underserved, but 66 airports were totally unserved. What I mean by unserved is that not a single flight was going to these airports. But that was a challenge the government has taken up. Now we have constructed the airports, but we have to start the airline connectivity also. And through the UDAN scheme, we have given the viability gap funding, and we were able to run all these airports. We were giving them those connections which was very, very required for the people of that state or of that region or of the airport. And we have operationalized 86, and we can proudly say that UDAN has been a real success story of the Indian aviation, which are showcasing to the whole world under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference, where 41 countries were participating, and there were stakeholders from aviation across the globe also who were participating. And 29 countries have sent in the best of the people who represent aviation from their countries. And I have heard all of them speak in the conference, and they have proudly said the real thing that we can pick up from India today is how it has improved the domestic connectivity within the country, and how it has launched the RCS UDAN scheme so that it could facilitate the regional aviation in a very big way. Now the other thing that I mentioned after taking charge as a minister was that I want to bring in affordability also. And I understand all the concerns that each and every member has raised regarding the airfares. I am also a citizen of this country, and I was also a member, and before member I was also a passenger. So I know one of the challenges that the people of this country face when they're traveling, and I understand the true spirit in which people would have spoken about the airfares also. And we within the ministry, I would like to tell the whole house and the people of this country that from the ministry we also monitor the prices. We have a tariff monitoring unit under our DGCA which thoroughly looks after each and every fare that is happening in the country, and there is a liability on the airlines also before they decide on a price for a certain route or for a certain sector. They have to send it to us in the DGCA. Now we in this government, we are committed to bring the affordability factor. Now we wanted to see how best we can do. So we are removing that clause. We are just keeping it for 1 month. So whatever fare is there, within 1 month they have to address it to us. And we feel this kind of mechanism is going to address a little bit about the irregularities that we see in the airfares. We are keeping a watchful eye on them, and we are moving one step at a time. And we want to ensure that जो हवाई चप्पल से हवाई जहाज का सफ़र जो है वो अभी तक आधा तो सच हो गया है, और पूरी तरह से इसमें और लोगों को शामिल करने का जो ये है वो आगे करते रहेंगे, और ये हमारे वादा है सरकार की तरफ से. There was also an issue of bomb threats also. And if you look at the bomb threats, it was during a specific period. There were multiple instances before also, once in a while these were happening. But from 10th October to 24th November, there was sudden surge and so many threats happening on the social media, especially on Twitter, and some were through calls and all. So first thing I want to tell the House is that for us as a ministry, safety and security is the topmost priority. Now the threat can be a hoax threat or it can be a fake threat. But for us, once a threat is received, we have to follow the protocol, because we can't put any life at risk just based on assumptions or based on what we think the threat could be. So in that time, we have increased the security, overall surveillance, overall security measures that we need to take. On one step we have improved, and we have kept the mechanism very, very dynamic. So whatever we have learned while doing these threats, while addressing these threats, whatever good feedback that came in through the ministry, through the BCAS, through MHA, through MIghty, all these departments combined together, we have tried to address this problem as a dynamic situation. And overall, the flights, only 3.24 of the threats that were received, 3.24% of the flights only got diverted. So much of this thing we were able to address, and we were trying to get down the inconvenience faced by the passengers to the very minimum. That was one dynamic approach which we followed during the bomb threats. But I agree that this can't keep happening all the time. Now they can't keep taking advantage of this situation that we are going to check each and every plane whenever a threat is received, and they can't do all these hoax threats, because all the threats we received were hoax threats. We thoroughly followed the process, and nowhere we found that there was any real threat. But as we move forward, we understand that this couldn't follow, so we are making some legislative changes also on this. We have aircraft security rules, and through these aircraft security rules, what we are trying to bring in is a legislation change where whoever found guilty of doing this will be put under no-fly list. Under the civil aviation, we have another act, which is the SWASCA Act, Safety Suppression of Unlawful Acts Against Safety of Civil Aviation. This is another act which specifically deals with these offences and unlawful activities regarding the plane, and we found that that can be strengthened a little bit. So we are going into amend that law. We are bringing in slightly more stringent laws into that act itself, which will address the concern that has been raised today. Digi Yatra, almost 3 crore people have used it till now. They find it very, very convenient, because what takes through the CISF security, what takes like 20 to 25 seconds, with the usage of this Digi Yatra, it becomes 5 seconds for them to cross gate to gate. And it has been put at multiple points. One is at the entry of the airport, then there is the security check-in and the boarding gate thing. So at these 3 points, we are using these Digi Yatra systems. And first and foremost, Digi Yatra is a totally voluntary system. It's not a mandatory that we are pushing it onto the people or the passengers. Whoever feels that it is convenient for me to use the Digi Yatra, only he gets to use it. And how do we address the privacy? There is a certain audit on this. There is a forensic audit which has been done, and everyone has pointed out that no privacy threat is being done by the Digi Yatra. Whatever the information that is stored in the Digi Yatra system, it gets purged. Once you use Digi Yatra, the whole information about the Aadhaar or whatever details you put in, it gets stored on your phone itself. It doesn't go to any other place. Only when you put in the boarding card, the airport gets notified that you're traveling through this airport at this time. So within a stipulated time, the information goes to the airport, so that when you reach the gate, the airport has that information. And once you cross and once you're travel from that airport, the data gets purged in itself. So there is no place which stores all your data. And if there is a data threat that needs to happen, all the people who use Digi Yatra, all the phones need to be hacked. Now 800, so many phones, whoever Digi Yatra is using, they all need to be hacked consistently. But otherwise, there is no one place where all the Digi Yatra systems get, the data gets stored. So there is no privacy concern in that. And just like how we have rules for the passengers, rules, safety requirements for the aircraft, similarly, we have made rules for the drones also. And we are stepping into making rules for advanced air mobility vehicles. And you will all be very surprised and excited also within 1 year, because a lot of research is going into advanced air mobility. This is something which is very exciting for a country like India, where from the airport to coming into the city, when you are in these metro cities, everywhere you find this challenge. A small traffic jam and you're stuck for 1 hour or 2 hours coming home from the airport itself. And that is where these advanced air mobility vehicles, this is the electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, which is going to be a new invention which is happening across the world, and people are building these prototypes and trying to form the rules around it. And India is not far behind. We have already said if you want to build a vertiport from where these vehicles need to take off, we have already, from the DGCA, we have designed the rules for that. And airworthiness of this aircraft that we are going to build, we have designed the rules for that. So step by step, whatever needs to be done, we are consistently speaking with the industry and forming the rules, so that by 2026 in the beginning, when the industry says we have the vehicle ready so that we can use it, we are ready with the rules from the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So we are strongly pursuing that path. We have not left it behind. And if you say that it's not there present in the Act itself, according to the definition of the aircraft, it comes under this Act, and we are forming the rules subsequently so that all those things need to get addressed. I assure each and everyone, you can come and see me, you can discuss about your airport with me. I'll be available to meet, and everyone across the tables. Our intention is not to do politics with any airport. Our intention is to promote aviation and do the best to the people of this country, so that everyone who aspires to be on that plane has a very convenient, affordable and accessible air travel. That is the thing. And one, out of my respect to our ex-Prime Minister, who is also here, and I should appreciate the commitment he has at this age also, coming here and sitting for so many hours, and for the reply and mentioning about the airport, that he is so passionate about the Hassan Airport. And we are going to take it seriously from our side, not just for this thing, but for all also catering for the demands of the farmers there. Definitely we would want to make it a reality as early as possible, and from our side we'll provide all the support. One important closing comment that we want to make is we have been talking about a lot of the air traffic connectivity and how we bring more people into air travel network. But what we are really trying to address through the act itself is how do we improve the job creation and economic activity also. The multiplier effect that we have in this is 1 rupee spent creates 3 rupees of economic activity. One job that we create in aviation creates up to 6 to 15 times jobs in the direct and indirect sector in aviation. That is the potential we have. And how do we tap into it? We create India as a state of design. We create India as a state of maintenance, as a state of manufacture. Once we get these terms flowing, once you get that mindset flowing, we will become the country where we can produce our own aircraft, not only for the domestic demands of the country, but we promote it so that people, other countries also come to us and buy aircraft which are made in India. That is the real Atmanirbhar Bharat that we want to address. And by that, we want to create more jobs in this sector, sir. And that is where the core ideology of this bill lies. And I'm sure that each and everyone appreciates this kind of mindset. And all, I'd like to thank each and everyone for all the support they have given in this bill. And I'm sure once this bill becomes an act, it is going to let us really fly and touch the skies in the aviation that India wants to reach. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. K. Rammohan Rai Naidu to move that the bill be passed.
Sir, I now move that the bill be passed.
Motion moved that the bill be passed. The question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The bill is passed.